And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
You know how sometimes you crave a certain food or a specific flavor? Well, for some reason, I'm usually craving what are the black jelly beans of movies because I actively look for bad movies to watch. So I put 4 of what looked like some of The Rock's most black jelly bean type movies up to a vote. And to my surprise, Jungle Cruise beat out The Rock Fights a Building and The Rock Saves Santa Claus. And also, The Rock runs up and down a beach without a shirt on. Which means I'm watching a movie I've been avoiding since July 30th, 2021. And given that this movie cost $200 million to make and only had a return of $220 million, I would say I got a whole lot of black jelly beans with this one. Oh, this movie is 2 hours long? That's cool.
Just why? My fucking day is ruined now.
The movie opens with narration about the healing tears from ancient legends that a group of conquistadors went looking for years ago. The leader of the conquistadors demanded a special arrowhead from a local tribe that would point him to where the magical tears are. This ended up angering the tribe leader, so he put a curse on them that allows them to live forever, but they can never leave the side of the river. This opening narration is from McGregor, who is trying to convince a bunch of old men to give him access to an archive that holds answers to finding the tears. Unfortunately, this opening is just a series of hijinkses and character introductions. Lily, played by Emily Blunt, is McGregor's sister, who is sneaking around looking for the arrowhead while he gives his speech. She runs into a prince from Germany, played by Jesse Plemons, who sees her steal the arrowhead. Lily makes her escape by beating these old scholar guys up and almost shish kebabbing more of them by dropping swords on their heads. It ends when she falls out of the window and lands on a double-decker bus, making her get away. The prince, and I'm only calling him the prince because the movie even makes multiple jokes about how nobody can say his name right, so I'm not even gonna try. But he's from Germany and he's looking for the tears because he thinks it'll help them win World War I. Lily and McGregor make their way to the Amazon to find a skipper for their river trip, while we meet The Rock's character, Frank Wolff. And Frank Wolff is the biggest skipper with the tiniest hat that you've ever seen. We meet him while he's giving a tour to a group on his boat, and I will admit that even though The Rock's performance is pretty flat this whole movie, this one moment kinda made me laugh.
Wait, can you please make him stop?
No one can. And don't interrupt me like that again. I will feed you to the boa.
She is a small child.
You love small children. Close your mouth.
Looking back, this is actually probably the funniest line in the movie too. So, I don't know what that tells you, but it tells you something. Everything about Frank's tour is also staged, as he has traps and gags along the way to get more oohs and ahs from his tour group. I mean, he even goes as far as to hire guys to shoot darts at the boat as he drives by, or floats by. And apparently, this was all the intro?
What? What the fuck?
Bold move putting your title card this far into the movie, Disney, because I was kinda hoping we were already almost done, but I guess not. Paul Giamatti as Nilo shows up to hassle Frank for money that he owes him and also take his engine as collateral. So Frank decides to break into Nilo's office to get the key to his engine back, just as Lily comes to knock on the door about getting a skipper. She thinks Frank is Nilo, and because she tells him that she has a lot of money, he listens to her while the two banter back and forth about how she's wearing pants. After a series of unfunny exchanges and them moving to a bar, the real Nilo shows up, breaking Frank's cover. Frank spots the arrowhead around Lily's neck, but a cheetah just shows up, ruining the conversation and displaying some really bad CGI. And during the cheetah bit, McGregor alludes to peeing his pants because Jungle Cruise has the sense of humor of a rock. Haha, rock pun. The Rock then fights the cheetah, not Frank. I assume this was something The Rock insisted on being in this movie, because a cheetah fist fight that also has a scorpion and tarantula bit, and then at the end everyone cheers for him?
Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
So Frank, Lily, and McGregor all team up and set out to find the healing tears. Before they can actually leave, Frank and McGregor banter about his stupid luggage and Lily gets thrown into a birdcage. Of course, she escapes pretty easily and very quick, so she can meet up with Frank so they can have a fist fight to a very Indiana Jones style score. It ends when Lily ziplines over the water, knocks herself out on the dock, and then gets in the boat. Oh yeah, it's also revealed that Lily can't swim. She's an adventurer who's going down a river, but she can't swim.
You are made of stupid.
The prince is also there, and he brought a submarine to a boat fight. Even though the submarine has machine guns on it, the riverboat isn't immediately shredded to pieces. Then the sub shoots a torpedo at them, so they jump over a building and swerve out of the way of the explosion. No, you heard me right. They jump over, or more like through, a building as the torpedo goes under the building and explodes in front of them, and they literally Tokyo drift out of the way. It's a shame that none of these action scenes are enjoyable at all. They stroll down the river talking about fish and curses. Then Frank tells a series of dad jokes to McGregor. That night, Frank fries piranha, plays guitar, and McGregor moans while applying lotion to his sunburn. Oh, and it turns out that Cheetah was Frank's pet because everything this guy does is just one giant lie or ruse. Meanwhile, the prince goes to the site where the conquistadors turned into trees so he can make a deal with a snake. He gives them all river water, which I guess brings them back as monsters with superpowers? Back with Lily, she forces Frank to go down the rapids because it's a quicker route, but they are extremely dangerous, and again, she can't swim. I think this is the movie's attempt at an action bit, but Frank constantly asking Lily if she's scared or wants to turn back is so annoying. And it also doesn't last very long because they start to go down a waterfall, but then the engine kicks in and they just kind of putter around and are safe. So Lily decides to sneak around the boat's cabin, and McGregor comes out as gay to Frank. In the cabin, she finds drawings of the arrowhead and confronts Frank about the secret. Turns out he once was looking for the tears, but eventually gave up from all the dead ends and disappointment. Their conversation is cut short when a series of darts hit them, and then they're captured. The captors want the arrowhead and demand Lily give it to them because it rightfully belongs to their tribe. Too bad this is yet another one of Frank's scams, so Lily and McGregor both punch him in the face at different times and then storm off. After learning where the tears are located using the arrowhead, Lily fires Frank for his constant lying and manipulation. I mean, I would have fired him because he's a sexist pig, but that's just me. For real, Frank is not even remotely likable. The conquistadors show up for a quick fight before one of them, made of honey and bees, grabs the arrowhead from Lily. Frank attempts to get it back, and in doing so, he gets stabbed and falls into the river below. And I'm glad Frank dies here because it'll end his annoying obsession with the fact that Lily is wearing pants. Lily and McGregor escape in a boat, and the river drags all the monster men in for getting too far away from the bank. Instead, they send bee messengers to the prince to update him on where Lily is going. Oh man, later Lily finds Frank alive, and plot twist, he's one of the original conquistadors, and he's immortal. Wouldn't be a rock movie unless his character was immortal. Turns out Frank and the others were taken in by the tribe that protects the tears to heal their wounds while they were looking for it, but the leader of the conquistadors killed the tribe leader and burned everything down because they wouldn't share the arrowhead with them. The chief, in his dying breath, cursed all of them to live forever but not leave the side of the river, and Frank is the one who trapped them. And because Frank trapped them in a cave, they turned into monster men with superpowers. For some reason. Back with McGregor, he gets kidnapped by the prince, who forces him to either tell him where his sister is going, or he's going to torpedo a tribe and kill 400 innocent people. Because Frank and Lily team back up, they end up arriving at the location to the tears, and she's forced to face her fear and swim. Basically, she has to swim between a narrow opening and pull a lever, and during this, she repeatedly has to go back to Frank to get air, so they end up kissing. Ooh, I'm telling John Krasinski. As the water level lowers, Frank tells Lily that after he drinks the tears, he's ready to die because he's already lived for like 500 years. Instead, Lily says that she'll take him to London with her and show him a reason worth living. Even though this man has zero redeeming qualities, Lily tries really hard to convince him to keep living, specifically with her. It's really dumb. The prince shows up to do his little spiel and force them to take him to the tree. And when they arrive, the tree is dead, so Frank says he knows how to make it bloom in exchange for the siblings' lives and a petal for himself. They figure out the puzzle and the tree blooms, so Lily shoots Frank so then he can land in the water and knock a bunch of guys out while Lily can run after the tears. She's able to pluck the final petal just in time, but she falls, causing the petal to float down to Frank. Then the immortal conquistadors show up and attack the prince, so Frank heads off alone to make a last stand. While Frank fights all of them on the boat, McGregor accidentally kills the prince by dropping rubble on him. Such a weird ending for this character too. So Frank then crashes his boat, which causes the river level to go down. So since they can't see the river, Frank and all the other conquistadors get dragged back to the river, but since they can't go to the river, they get stuck on the wall. And then Lily cries over Frank's frozen body just like Han Solo, and instead of using the petal to, I don't know, like cure cancer or help win World War I or I don't know, do fucking anything else, she gives him the fucking petal. It doesn't matter though, because this is a Disney movie, so an extra petal blooms after they kiss, followed by a slow motion walk. And the movie ends with McGregor telling the old white guys to shove it, and Lily giving Frank a driving lesson. Fuck this movie. Where do I even start? For one, it wants to be Indiana Jones so badly, and it fails so hard to capture that magic to the point it's kinda hilarious. Every time there was a music cue for an action bit, I kept anticipating the music to turn into Indiana Jones, because that's how much it sounds like it. But besides all the obvious things that this movie does to be like Indiana Jones, Jungle Cruise also feels like another The Rock vanity project. I mean, come on. He's playing a character that is supposed to be funny, smart, can drive a boat, trains cheetahs to fake fight with him, can draw maps with better detail than anyone else, is invincible in a fight, quite literally, he's charming, and the list goes on and fucking on. That's too many things for one character to be good at for us to feel like there's any stake in whatever's wrapped up in this muscly mess of a person. He's played off to be annoying or frustrating at times, but those moments are usually played for laughs, with Frank delivering the punchline for the audience. And the fact that Lily was willing to give up on saving millions of lives, her childhood dream, and her goal of helping people, all for a man she's constantly complained about until the plot needed her to like him. But Frank calling Lily pants every 5 fucking seconds made me want to explode.
How you doing, Pants?
I counted 16 times a little over halfway in, and then I just gave up because it became such a trigger word for me during my viewing experience that I was losing my mind. Given that most of the humor in this movie doesn't land at all, I'm not surprised they resulted in a poorly written repeating joke that immediately gets old. At one point, the cheetah drinks wine and throws up, which is supposed to be funny, and it's just not. There's also a point where McGregor is enjoying a drink, and then Frank tells him it's spit, and I could just imagine a silent theater while the movie quite literally goes silent, like it's anticipating a thunderous roar of laughter. We also get a lot of wasted screen time with pointless conversations, meaningless banter, and some pacing issues I'm not too thrilled about. Jungle Cruise either moves really fast or really slow, and there is no in between. It's also pretty obvious to see the twist with Frank coming. It just makes sense that he has tons of maps and more skills than any one human had in 1916. I find it funny that all the other conquistadors all had a Spanish accent, but then Frank just sounds like The Rock. So that makes total sense. Probably the only part of this movie I liked was Jesse Plemons and his submarine of nonsense. I freaking love Jesse Plemons, and his whole performance and shtick in this are some of the best moments, hands down. Plus, the CGI and action bits are pretty boring and very lackluster. Once it's established Frank basically can't die, there's really no danger when they get in trouble. So where's the threat? I am not surprised this movie only made $220 million. I am surprised that it cost $200 million to make. When is Hollywood going to realize that more money does not mean a better movie? More time, talent, effort, and creativity is what makes a movie good. Yeah, Jungle Cruise can float down the river straight into just plain garbage. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out my video on the movie Battle Los Angeles, one of my favorite alien invasion movies. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.